Everyone knows the Mustang Boss, the GTO, and the legendary CUDA. But there were other V8 beasts roaming our streets that somehow got forgotten by history. Today, we're bringing back 7 incredible muscle cars that deserved way more respect than they ever got. These machines could smoke the famous ones, but never got their moment in the spotlight. We're talking real horsepower, real performance, and real stories that every car lover needs to hear. Let's dive into the vault and rediscover these forgotten V8 warriors that ruled the muscle car era. Let's kick off our countdown with a Plymouth that was born to dominate the Trans Am racing circuit, but somehow slipped through the cracks of muscle car history. The 1970 AAR CUDA wasn't just another pretty face in Plymouth's lineup. It was a street-legal race car disguised as a daily driver. Number 7, 1970 Plymouth AAR CUDA. Under that aggressive hood scoop lived a 340 cubic inch small block V8 that packed more punch per cubic inch than engines twice its size. With its triple 2-barrel carburetors, this mill cranked out 290 horsepower, but we all know Plymouth was sandbagging those numbers. The real magic happened when you mashed the throttle. This thing could hit 60 in just 5.8 seconds and run the quarter mile in the high 13s. What made the AAR special wasn't just its engine, though. Those side exit exhausts weren't just for show. They created a symphony that would make angels weep and neighbors complain. The suspension was tuned for the track, with heavy-duty everything and a rear sway bar that kept it planted through the twisties. The aggressive front and rear spoilers provided real downforce at speed. The AAR came with rally wheels, dual racing stripes, and that unmistakable flat black hood treatment that screamed racing pedigree. Only 2,724 AAR CUDAs were ever built, making them rarer than hen's teeth today. The AAR stood for All American Racers, Dan Gurney's racing team, and every one of these cars was a tribute to American racing dominance. Yet somehow, while its big block brothers get all the glory, this small block screamer remains one of our best-kept secrets. Here's where things get interesting, fellow gearheads. While Detroit's Big Three were slugging it out with their muscle machines, little AMC was quietly building one of the most insane sleepers ever to hit American pavement. The 1969 Hearst SC/Rambler looked like your grandmother's grocery getter, but underneath that innocent exterior lurked the heart of a genuine street warrior. Number 6, 1969 AMC Hearst SC/Rambler. AMC took their compact Rambler and stuffed it full of their biggest, baddest 390 cubic inch V8. This wasn't some half-hearted attempt at performance. This was AMC saying, "Hold our beer and watch this." The 390 pumped out 315 horsepower and 425 pound-feet of torque, numbers that would make the competition sweat. They paired this monster motor with a close ratio 4-speed manual and a limited slip differential. But here's the kicker. AMC painted most of these cars in patriotic red, white, and blue schemes that screamed America louder than a 4th of July parade. The paint job alone was worth the price of admission, with bold stripes and SC Rambler, graphics that left no doubt about this car's intentions. The hood featured twin functional scoops that fed cold air directly to that hungry 390. The performance was equally loud. This compact terror could hit 60 miles per hour in just 6.3 seconds and run the quarter mile in the low 14 seconds, embarrassing plenty of bigger, more expensive muscle cars in the process. The best part? Nobody saw it coming. Picture the looks on Camaro and Mustang owners' faces when this unassuming compact car would blow their doors off at the stoplight. AMC only built 1,512 of these beauties, making them incredibly rare today. It was David versus Goliath, and David was packing a 390 cubic inch slingshot. While Chevelle SSs and GTOs grabbed headlines, Buick was quietly building what many consider the most underrated muscle car of the entire era. The 1970 GSX Stage 1 was Buick's answer to the question nobody was asking. What if we took luxury and mixed it with absolute savagery? Number 5, 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1. The Stage 1 45.5 cubic inch V8 was a masterpiece of American engineering. Officially rated at 360 horsepower, This engine was notorious for making way more power than Buick admitted. Independent tests showed these motors were cranking out closer to 400 horses, with a staggering 510 pound-feet of torque that would twist the frame if you weren't careful. This wasn't just a big engine. It was a sophisticated piece of machinery with a high-lift cam, free-flowing exhaust manifolds, and a carburetor that could drink fuel faster than a thirsty sailor. What separated the GSX from the pack wasn't just raw power, it was sophistication. This thing had functional hood scoops that actually improved airflow, aggressive body cladding that made it look like it meant business, and enough presence to stop traffic wherever it went. The suspension was tuned for both comfort and performance, making it equally at home on the drag strip or cruising to the country club. Performance numbers were absolutely brutal for 1970. 0 to 60 happened in just 5.5 seconds, and the quarter-mile disappeared in 13.38 seconds at over 105 miles per hour. Motor Trend called it the quickest production sedan we've ever tested, yet somehow it never achieved the legendary status it deserved. Only 678 GSX models were produced in 1970, available in only Saturn Yellow or Apollo White. Buick proved that you didn't need to sacrifice luxury for performance. You could have both, wrapped in one beautiful, terrifying package. Mercury's forgotten warrior deserves way more respect than history has given it. The 1970 Cyclone Spoiler 2 was Ford's NASCAR homologation special, built to dominate the superspeedways, but equally capable of dominating our local drag strips and street races. This wasn't just another pretty face in Mercury's lineup. It was a purpose-built racing machine that happened to be street legal. Number 4, 1970, Mercury Cyclone Spoiler 2. The heart of this beast was Ford's legendary 429 Cobra Jet V8, officially rated at 370 horsepower, but realistically producing much more. This wasn't just any 429, it was the same basic engine that powered Ford's NASCAR racers, complete with solid lifters, an aggressive cam, and breathing modifications that made it absolutely ferocious. The engine featured special heads, a high-rise intake manifold, and an exhaust system that could wake the dead 3 counties over. What made the Spoiler 2 special was its complete aerodynamic package. That massive rear spoiler wasn't just for looks. It was a functional piece that helped this Mercury slice through the air at triple-digit speeds. The front air dam channeled air around the car while the nose was designed in Ford's wind tunnel to cheat the air as efficiently as possible. The result was a car that could hit 60 miles per hour in 5.8 seconds and run the quarter mile in the mid-13s while looking absolutely menacing doing it. Dan Gurney's racing influence was all over this car, from the aerodynamics to the suspension tuning. The handling was surprisingly good for a muscle car of this era, thanks to competition-inspired suspension components and wider tires. On the track, these Cyclones were winning races and setting records. On the street, they were embarrassing Camaros, Chevelle, and anything else that dared to line up. Mercury only built these for 1 year, making them incredibly rare today. While everyone remembers the Torino Cobra, the Cyclone was arguably the better car. Just when we thought the muscle car era was winding down, Plymouth dropped this absolute atomic bomb on the automotive world. The 1971 CUDA 446 pack represented the last hurrah of truly insane American muscle. And what a swan song it was. This wasn't just another muscle car. It was Plymouth's final middle finger to anyone who thought the party was over. Number 3, 1971, Plymouth CUDA 446 pack. The 446 pack engine was a work of art. 440 cubic inches of pure, unadulterated American Fury, topped with 3 Holley 2-barrel carburetors that could drink gasoline faster than a sailor drinks rum on shore leave. Officially rated at 385 horsepower, these engines were making significantly more power in the real world, with torque numbers that could literally lift the front wheels off the pavement. The triple carburetor setup wasn't just for show. It provided incredible throttle response and a sound that was pure music to our gearhead ears. What made this CUDA special wasn't just the engine. It was the complete package. The shaker hood scoop was functional, feeding cool air directly into those hungry carburetors while literally shaking with the engine's power. The suspension was tuned for maximum grip, with heavy-duty components that could handle all that torque. The exhaust note was pure symphony, a deep, throaty rumble at idle that turned into an absolute roar under full throttle. The styling was absolutely aggressive, with bold stripes, functional air scoops, and that unmistakable CUDA attitude that said, "Get out of my way or get left behind." Performance was absolutely savage. 0 to 60 happened in just 5.6 seconds, and the quarter mile flashed by in 13.7 seconds. But the real magic happened from a rolling start. This thing had so much mid-range torque that it would pin you to the seat and keep pulling until you ran out of rotor nerve. 1971 was the beginning of the end for true muscle cars, making these 446-pack CUDAs some of the last of the truly wild ones. They represented everything we love about the muscle car era: excessive power, aggressive looks, and performance that could make your palms sweaty. Sometimes the most beautiful things come in the most unexpected packages, and the 1969 Super B 12 is living proof. While everyone was chasing the Roadrunner and Charger RT, Dodge built this absolute monster that could outrun them all while flying completely under the radar. This wasn't just a muscle car, it was a street-legal dragster that happened to have license plates. Number 2, 1969 Dodge Super B 12. The A12 package transformed the humble Super B into a purpose-built quarter-mile destroyer. The centerpiece was Mopar's legendary 446-pack engine, the same mill we just talked about, but in an earlier, arguably purer form. In 1969, this engine was making 390 horsepower and enough torque to twist the earth off its axis. But the A12 wasn't just about the engine, it was about creating the ultimate drag racing package for the street. The A12 was a complete performance package designed by Dodge's engineers, who clearly had a sense of humor and a complete disregard for practicality. The hood had a massive scoop that fed cool air directly to those 3 two-barrel carburetors, while the rear end was stuffed with gears so steep that first gear was basically useless, except for burnouts. The suspension was tweaked for maximum traction, with heavy-duty components and settings that prioritized straight-line performance over comfort. Inside, creature comforts were basically non-existent. This was a race car with a heater. You got basic bucket seats, minimal sound deadening, and gauges that focused on the essentials: oil pressure, water temperature, and how fast you were going when you inevitably got arrested. The performance numbers were absolutely insane for 1969. This Super B could hit 60 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds and run the quarter mile in 13.56 seconds at nearly 106 miles per hour. Those were numbers that embarrassed cars costing twice as much and made Corvette owners question their life choices. What makes the A12 Super B so special today is its rarity and authenticity. Only 166 A12 Super Bs were ever built, making them some of the rarest and most desirable Mopars in existence. We've reached the summit of our forgotten V8 mountain, and sitting at the peak is what many consider the greatest muscle car engine ever built. The 1970 Chevelle SS with the LS6454 wasn't just fast, it was a force of nature that redefined what we thought was possible from a production car. This wasn't just another muscle car. It was the absolute pinnacle of American automotive engineering and the high watermark of the entire muscle car era. Number 1, 1970 Chevelle L S6SS454. The LS6454 was Chevrolet's ultimate expression of the muscle car philosophy. This engine was rated at 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, making it the most powerful production engine of the muscle car era. But those numbers only told part of the story. This engine was underrated from the factory and was probably making closer to 500 horsepower in reality. Independent dyno tests showed these monsters consistently putting out numbers that would make modern supercars sweat. What made the LS6 special wasn't just raw power, it was the sophisticated engineering underneath that massive hood. This engine had 11-to-1 compression, aggressive cam timing, and breathing capabilities that were absolutely incredible for 1970. The cylinder heads flowed like nothing else in production. The intake manifold was a work of art, and the exhaust system was tuned to perfection. The result was an engine that could pull like a freight train from idle to redline without ever breaking a sweat. The LS6 came with a solid lifter camshaft that created a distinctive lope at idle. You could hear one of these beasts coming from 3 blocks away. But the LS6 Chevelle wasn't just about the engine. The whole package was engineered for maximum performance. The suspension was tuned to handle all that power. The transmission was a rock-solid M22 Rock Crusher 4-speed, and the rear end was stuffed with gears that maximized acceleration. The performance numbers were absolutely staggering. 0 to 60 happened in just 5.4 seconds, and the quarter mile disappeared in 13.12 seconds at over 107 miles per hour. But the real magic was the mid-range punch. This thing had so much torque that it could break the tires loose in 3rd gear without trying. Highway passing was almost unfair. You could go from 50 to 100 miles per hour faster than most cars could reach 60. These 7 forgotten V8 beasts proved that some of the best muscle cars never got the fame they deserved. Each one of these machines had the power and performance to hang with the legends, but somehow slipped through the cracks of history. They represent the true spirit of American muscle, raw power, incredible engineering, and that unmistakable V8 sound we all love. If this video got you excited about forgotten muscle cars, smash that like button and tell us in the comments which one you'd most want to own. Don't forget to subscribe for more hidden automotive gems. Keep those V8s roaring.